In the vast expanse of the cosmos, two unlikely heroes emerged. Aardvark, a space ranger of unparalleled skill and courage. His partner Neto, a brilliant mechanic with a penchant for adventure.
Aardvark stood tall and proud, his white and green spacesuit gleaming under the starlight. His square jaw and determined eyes spoke of countless missions and narrow escapes.
Neto, in contrast, was shorter and stockier. His weathered pilot jacket bore the marks of countless repairs and modifications. A pair of brass goggles rested atop his head, ready to be pulled down at a moment's notice. His hands, calloused and oil-stained, were a testament to his mechanical prowess.
Together, they formed an unstoppable team. Aardvark's bravery and quick thinking complemented Neto's technical genius and adaptability. They had explored the farthest reaches of known space, facing dangers that would make lesser beings quake with fear. But nothing could have prepared them for the adventure that awaited. An adventure that would test their skills, their courage, and their very will to survive. For in the year 3024, fate had something extraordinary in store for Aardvark and Neto. The year 3024 dawned on a galaxy transformed. Humanity had spread across the stars, establishing colonies on distant worlds. Faster-than-light travel was commonplace. Alien races, once the stuff of science fiction, were now allies and trading partners. Yet for all its advancements, the universe remained a place of mystery and danger. Uncharted regions of space still beckoned, promising untold wonders and unfathomable perils. It was in this era of boundless possibility that Aardvark and Neto found their calling. Their ship, the Stellar Seeker, was a marvel of 31st century engineering. Sleek and agile, it could outmaneuver most threats. Its advanced sensors could detect the faintest energy signatures. The ship's AI, affectionately named Stella, was their constant companion and guardian. But even the most advanced technology has its limits. And in the vast, uncaring expanse of space, those limits would soon be tested. For Aardvark and Neto were about to embark on a mission that would push them to the very edge of survival. It began as a routine exploration mission, a distress signal from an uncharted sector of space. The Stellar Seeker responded, as was their duty, but as they approached the source, something went terribly wrong. A sudden energy surge overwhelmed their systems. Alarms blared as Stella's voice crackled with static.
Warning, unknown gravitational anomaly detected.
Neto's fingers flew over the controls, trying to stabilize the ship. Aardvark gripped the helm, fighting to maintain course, but it was futile. The Stellar Seeker was caught in an irresistible pull. They plummeted towards an unknown planet, the ship's hull screaming in protest. The last thing they saw was a rapidly approaching landscape of impossible beauty and alien terror. When consciousness returned, they found themselves in a world beyond imagination. The Stellar Seeker lay in ruins around them, its once proud form now a twisted wreck. Aardvark and Neto stood alone, surrounded by a landscape that defied description. They were stranded on an alien world, with no way to call for help. The planet that greeted them was a symphony of color and danger. Towering crystal formations reached towards the sky, their facets reflecting light in dazzling rainbows, pools of liquid that shimmered and shifted, sometimes transparent, sometimes opaque. The very air seemed alive with floating particles that glowed and pulsed. But beauty often hides deadly secrets.
The crystal formations, they soon discovered, could shatter without warning. Razor-sharp shards rained down, deadly as any weapon.
The shimmering pools emitted noxious fumes that could overwhelm in seconds. Even the glowing particles in the air seemed to react to our presence, sometimes coalescing into shapes that lunged at us.
The terrain itself was treacherous. What looked like solid ground could suddenly give way to bottomless chasms. Vegetation, if it could be called that, moved with apparent intelligence. Vine-like appendages would lash out without warning, trying to ensnare the unwary.
Aardvark and Neto moved cautiously, every step a potential trap. Their years of training were put to the test as they navigated this alien landscape.
But even as they marveled at the otherworldly beauty, they knew that survival was far from certain. For in this strange world, they were the aliens, and the planet seemed intent on rejecting these foreign invaders.
It wasn't long before they realized they weren't alone. The first sign was a haunting cry that echoed across the crystalline plains, a sound that sent shivers down their spines. Then came the rustling in the strange, moving vegetation. Eyes that glowed in the shadows, watching their every move.
The creatures that emerged defied description. Some moved like liquid mercury, flowing across the ground with terrifying speed. Others soared through the air on wings that seemed to bend light itself.
There were behemoths that shook the ground with every step, and tiny, swarming things that could strip flesh from bone in seconds. And they were hungry. Perhaps these alien life forms saw Aardvark and Neto as a new food source, or maybe they were simply defending their territory. Whatever the reason, the hunt began.
Our heroes found themselves constantly on the move, never knowing when the next attack would come. Their only defense was their laser blasters, advanced weapons that had served them well in countless battles. But against the sheer variety and number of threats on this planet, even these seemed woefully inadequate.
Aardvark and Neto stood back to back, blasters at the ready as the alien horde closed in. Days blended into nights, and still they fought on. Aardvark's Space Ranger training kicked in, his reflexes honed to superhuman levels. He fired his blaster with unerring accuracy, each shot finding its mark.
Neto's mechanical genius proved invaluable. He jury-rigged traps and defenses from the wreckage of their ship, but the onslaught was relentless. For every creature they felled, two more seemed to take its place.
Our blasters began to run low on power. Exhaustion set in, slowing our reactions. It seemed only a matter of time before we would be overwhelmed.
Yet, in their darkest hour, hope appeared. Neto, tinkering with a salvaged piece of the ship's communication array, picked up a faint signal. A passing starship just at the edge of the system. If they could boost the signal, they might be rescued.
But to do so, we would need to reach the highest point on the planet, a towering spire of crystal that pierced the clouds.
As dawn broke on what might be their final day, Aardvark and Neto set out on their desperate mission. The crystal spire loomed before them, a beacon of hope and a daunting challenge. The alien hordes sensed their intent and gave chase. With their last reserves of strength and their wits pushed to the limit, our heroes began their climb. The fate of Aardvark and Neto and the secrets of this mysterious planet hung in the balance. Their greatest adventure was far from over.